In secret, yes. Marika?
Cliff?
And your name? Miriam? Julia?
Cliff?
Yeah, Julia.
Lockie. Tristan.
Christine. Catherine.
Peter?
Zara.
Paula.
Chris?
Saroja. Jane.
Michael.
Josh? Dean?
And there's Zulma and Bob. Off we go.
Good to see you all. And as you all know, it's the same old we talk about all the time. The nothingness of no thing. And to recognise that is all that needs to happen. Because the everything is the no thing and the no thing is everything. No separation. But we've all taken on the belief that we are these individuals, separate entities, persons. And taking ourselves from the great reality, the absolute, into the belief that we're separate. And that is the cause of all our problems. And it's very interesting to be separate. It's to appear to be separate also. But to take it as a reality can be pretty terrible. Because it's a sense of isolation, separation. When you are the absolute. And everything is that. Call it all things. Is everything. And everything is that. And recognition that you are that absolute is the reality. See through the isolation, the separation, and all the other appearances, and know the truth. And that's a saying you've heard somewhere along the line, know the truth and the truth will set you free. So you're free from that limitation that we put ourselves as this person. And the person is not the reality. It is a conceptual image we've taken on board and believed to be so. We talk about the one essence that patterns, shapes and forms and appears as all these things. The absolute. What can you add to absolute? You can't add anything to it. What can you take away from it? Nothing. But we do divide it and separate it with these concepts, words, or language. It tells you that in the Bible, in the beginning was the Word. There was no beginning without the Word. The Word was with God. The Word was God. That's all that God is a word. A label we put on that absolute. And we believe that God is the power in which all these things appear in. And it is. It's the one power. There's no sense of separation. But we've taken on this belief. Got concepts of it, and the belief in the concepts, in the word. You weren't born with any words. And you didn't learn any words till you were about 2.5, because you couldn't, that capacity of reason hadn't developed before that. And parents fussing around you told you words, called you little Johnny or little Jane or little Billy or whatever your name might be. And without question we've taken it on. I am little Johnny or I am Jane. So then the word becomes the seeming real. Now we've separated ourselves. And with that sense of separation comes fear, unhappiness, depression, guilt, shame, remorse. All our psychological problems come on because of that belief we've taken on. And it's all a belief that there is something, all appearing in the no thing. Nisargadatta tells you nothing can trouble you except your own imagination. Shakespeare told you there's nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Somebody else, I forget who it was now, says, why are you unhappy? Because everything you say, everything you think, and everything you do is for yourself. And there isn't one. All pointing out to that non-dual, ever-fresh presence awareness of knowing that I am. Call it in Hinduism, Advaita. Advaita translated as Satchidananda, Nama Rupa, 5 factors. Sat is existence, Chit is consciousness, Ananda is loving to be. Nama Rupa, the other 2 factors, body, mind, name and form, they say are Maya. They tell you that. This body, mind entity we believe it's what to be is Maya, illusion. Illusionary pattern we put the energy of belief in. Sat, existence. Are you existing right now? Of course you are. Are you conscious? Yes, you're conscious. Are you unaware? No, I'm not unaware, so you must be aware. So you really already are that essence. We're not separate at all. We've taken on the idea that we are this, I am this body, mind. I am this person. And I think it's the 3rd chapter of Nisargadatta's book, I am that. Tells you the person is not reality. And so each and every one of us is that. That's the great mantra, I am that. And every one of you know it. Because you say, that's the chair I'm sitting in. That's the room the chair's in. That's the space in the room. That's the tree. That's the flower. Everything's already that, which we discriminate with the word. And the word is not the thing. Have a look at these words you learn. Water. Take the word water. Can you drink the word? You can't quench yourself with the word water. You can't swim in it. You won't drown in it. The word fire. Does it burn your mouth when you speak it? Can you cook with it? Can you heat yourself with it? You can't. So what's this word mean? What can it do if it wasn't the seeming doing happens and you put the word or label on it, oh, I'm doing this or that or something else. But the word is that. That is just a word. And that is. Everything is. But it's been described and separated with the word. But it's all that one intelligence energy. Intelligence is knowing. Satchitananda is being, knowing, and loving to be. So you are being right now. We put on a human being. I call him a human being. And God is so far much greater than me. It's a supreme being. But what if you take that word human off? And take the word supreme off? Can you negate your beingness? Can anyone in here say, I am not? Innately you know that I am. And that I amness is a sense of presence, the knowing that you are, not the believed in person. For the person is not reality. So whether you know it or not, start from the fact that you are already are that. That is all there is. And in the recognising that and living as that, a lot of the fears and things that happen to us are left behind. No longer fall in the trap of separation. Because it's all inseparable. It's all indivisible. Everything is. Nisargadatta tells you that nothing can trouble you except your own imagination. And that's very true also. Imagination, break it down to imagine, or imaging, broken down further. So we are imaging in, making conceptual images and believing in of all this manifestation. Good example of that is you look in a mirror, what do you see? You see a reflection or image in the mirror. Try and grab that image out of the mirror. You can't. But you can't say it's not there. And you can't say it is there. It appears to be so. So all this manifestation is the same way. It appears to be so. But appearance is not the reality. What can you add to the absolute? What can you take away from it? Nothing. It wouldn't be absolute if you could take anything away from it. It wouldn't be absolute if you could add anything to it. In Buddhism they call it the great perfection. The perfection is the same as the absolute. Nothing can be added to it. Nothing to taken away. And in Buddhism they tell you the great perfection is non-conceptual
Awareness.
non-conceptual
Awareness.
awareness.
The word is not the thing.
Yeah. And none of us are unaware right now. I was unaware of that. Yeah. So that's all it is. and you and I and everything else is that. That is all there is. Absolute. Now, I can't go around telling everybody I am the absolute. They'll think, put me in the funny farm. But it doesn't stop the fact of being or knowing and recognising it. Now, if I am the absolute and you are the absolute, who can be superior to you? Nobody, because it's absolute. Who could be inferior to you? Nobody, because it's absolute. And what would you want from the other person? Nothing. Because if you are the absolute, everything is available to you. You don't need it. So that was understood by everybody in the world to be a different place. You wouldn't want to take anything from anybody. Wouldn't want to be fighting with anybody. Leave everything as it is. But the recognition, the knowing, has to be. And that's another way they put it, the Satchitananda, is being, knowing, and loving to be. And there's no one in here who doesn't love to be. Nobody wants to be dead right now. You all love to be. But we put the knowing onto the individual person. I think that is knowing I am. But I am, instead of leaving it as the absolute, when we picked up that word, when we started to learn things, and the sense of separation came upon us when we separated ourselves with the belief on word. And we believed ourselves to be that ever since. But down through the ages, there's been those that that's not good enough. There's more than that to it. And they've opened up and looked into it and seen they were beyond this person, they were beyond this mind, beyond these thoughts and feelings. Put it out there, and others have recognised it, and the great traditions and religions were formed around it. But a lot of these religions put all sorts of conditions and things on it, rules and regulations on it, instead of leaving it in its purity, and have millions of followers following that tradition that still leaves them stuck in the idea of the person. But the others, the great saints, sages, saviours and seers that have understood it, people have set them up as something superior, as these saints, sages and seers, and worshipped the messenger, set them up as gods and realised great things, and missed out on the message. And the message is simple. Thou art that. That is all there is. I am that. Thou and I are the same thing. We're all that. And you don't have to become that, because becoming implies a future time. If you look in this concept of time, past, present and future, and ask yourself this simple question: is there a past if I don't think about it? And have a look at that. Past is gone. And it's gone for good, unless it's recalled. And the only past there is something when you recall. Bring it back into the present. And a lot of us seemingly live in the past. How can you live in the past when it's gone? What about the future? We can anticipate and imagine the future. What am I going to do when I leave here? And all the rest of it. But that's not now. It'll be an imagined thing. So past and future are imagined. Going back to the Nisargadatta, nothing can trouble you except in your own imagination. How many of us beat ourselves up with the past? It troubles us. Imagination. How many of us can anticipate and imagine the future? Imagination. So we're locked with these two, past and future. What's wrong with this presence? Right here, right now. It's spontaneous. It's got no duration to it. So that's all the time is, a duration. This presence is spontaneous. Comes and goes. Be with it. Know that you are that. See where it takes you. And we're not loading ourselves down with the past and with the future concepts. All these concepts we say weigh ourselves down with and have concern or fear or anxiety or stress about. And leaving it as it is, and it spontaneously comes about. There's nothing said, nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Leave it as it is, unaltered, unmodified, uncorrected. And your next thought, the same as your last thought, is spontaneous. Each thought is spontaneous, fresh and new. Got no duration. Leave it as that. And seeing how life goes on then. It comes as it is. And what is in this absoluteness, in this presence, cannot be said to be good or bad, pleasant or painful, but it is what it is, not what it was or not what it will be. Isness of being aware, being knowing and loving to be. That is what I am. That is what you are. And there's no becoming in it. Because you can't become anything, only something you can imagine or anticipate and put the energy of belief into it. Now belief, look at the dictionary of belief. We believe this and believe that, but the dictionary says belief is an unquestioned acceptance of something in the absence of reason. Acceptance of an alleged fact without positive knowledge or proof. Puts the beliefs to that test and try them out for yourselves. And you'll see what you think or believe about somebody, hold a grudge or something about them, a bad feeling or bad thought. Only believe to be out. Test it out, question it, see for yourself. And question the belief you have about yourself. You are this unhappy, fearful, anxious or depressed person who's had a bad upbringing, a bad life. People didn't like me, this happened to me, that happened to me. We weigh ourselves down with all these things and take a belief in them. We lead miserable lives because of it. But is it really so? Yesterday is gone, and it's gone forever, and it can be recalled. And the fact is, it's only partially recalled. You can't recall everything you did yesterday, only partially. That partial belief is enough to cause unhappiness, fear and depression and guilt, shame, remorse, and all these things. And you can imagine what's going to happen to you tomorrow or next day or later on in the day. If somebody's out to get you, or this is going to. See how our life functions, always in these beliefs and these opposites. And what's wrong with right now if I don't think about it? Have a look at that. What can you say is wrong with right now, this minute, without a thought? Let the thought rest for a minute. Don't pick it up. Don't go into it. See, when you look at that and start to see that this image you have about yourself, with all the concepts we've got about it, all the fears, anxieties, stresses, guilt and remorse, is weighing us down, carrying around a great amount of concepts, ideas and images. How would you be without loading yourself down with all that past and future concepts? Detaching from all the stuff, all the weight we've added onto ourselves and carry around. Let it rest, as Nisargadatta tells it. Let it rest in its uncontrived singularity, just as it is, in that singular. Without that weight on it, thought-free, ever-fresh presence awareness. There's much more room then for the spontaneous functioning, which, leave it as it is joyous, it's complete, it's total. No room for division or unhappiness in it. Be that thought-free, ever-fresh presence awareness. Know it for what it is. And you've had taste of it all through your life. And then something come up and covered it, seemingly obscured it again. And we've taken on the search to get out of it. But doing that, we look for it with concepts, words, ideas, and load ourselves down again and again and again. Instead of being with what is, unaltered, unmodified, uncorrected. No comparison, partiality, or comparison about it, just as is. Being, knowing and loving to be in its freshness, in its absoluteness, in its fullness. And there's a sense of well-being there, a sense of joyousness. Things happen. And they can be welcomed because they're happening. If it's not corrupted by all the previous concepts, it'll be okay. Know for certain that you are that. In the Buddhist, the Buddha told you that nothing. He called it a cognizing emptiness. And we think we are cognizing or knowing. But he didn't mean that at all. He made the emptiness itself has that capacity of cognizing. And he made the statement there and then that emptiness is form. You and I and everything else in this room and everywhere else are forms. He said emptiness is form, and the forms are nothing but the emptiness. So if you are the emptiness, be the emptiness. Don't add the partial onto it that you're a person. If you're going to put anything onto it, put the absolute onto it, that you are. Because a person is not the absolute. The person is only this idea of a separate entity, an individual. And that's open to suffering. Love, joy, hate, fear, all the conceptual concepts we carry around are carried around in these personal ideas and images. And the majority of people in the world that are doing that. But there are more and more that are seeing the way out and understanding it and pointing it out. More than there was ages ago when they didn't have the means of corresponding or letting people know or delivering it. But recognise that you are the life itself, not the body, not the mind, not the individual, not the person, but the life of that person, that individual, that entity. Take the life out of that body, what good is it? It rots, breaks down, gets burnt, or goes back into the, comes dust again, breaks down. Not a bit of good without the life. Good analogy for that is like your computer. Your computer's got all that amazing information in for it. But you can punch those keys and run the mouse over it as much as you like. If the power's not turned on, it's not a bit of good. The power, so if the life, power's not in the computer, it's not a bit of good. If the life's not in this body, it's not a bit of good. But know and recognise that you are the life. And let that life express, which it will and does. Because it's breathing you right now. It's beating your heart. It's growing your hair in your fingernail. It's causing the thoughts to function and appear in your body. Ideas, concepts and images to come up. But if you get out of the way as this person and let it happen, you'll see life will be ever fresh and free. And that is what you are. So that's it. People here understand it and know it already. So don't hesitate to point it out so others will hear it or recognise it. And if you haven't got it fully or don't understand it, ask questions. Because there's somebody here who will be able to point it out to you. And that's all we can do, is point to it. It's absolutely that presence awareness. Life itself. And you are already that.
Thank you.
Come on, Kat.
Okay, so hello again, and hello everyone who is online with us. We don't have any questions. We have welcome, we have namaste, and we have hello everyone from everyone who is out there, and it's 25 people right now. So now we gotta entertain them. Bob has already made the introductory how was it? One of our Zoom people says deconstruction of any fixed ideas of what the self or the world might be. From any angles and all and different angles, deconstructing. You're not the body, you're the elements. You're not the mind, you're not the thoughts. You're not your feelings. So with that deconstruction, we are left with the mind that doesn't know, which is no mind. But if there is any mind that wants to know, wants to figure it out, work it out, that's the time for questions. And nobody from online, apart from greetings and love sent, is not asking questions just yet. So please give us a direction, or perhaps share something that moved you, maybe when Bob was speaking, something touched your heart, or something that... Yes, please.
Yeah. So, what is stopping me from taking that final leap? I am ready, but I want to be in the awareness. So what is stopping me from being there? I don't want to try. I just want to be in the awareness. So what is stopping me? The final...
Yeah, you think you're not.
Bob?
Yes, Bob.
Are you unaware right now?
I am aware.
So, be that. Be that awareness. Move away from I am aware or unaware, but awareness is happening, and I'm translating it as I am.
When you're not thinking, when you don't have that idea, see, there was this old saying that the only difference between the enlightened and unenlightened is the idea or belief that unenlightened has that there is a difference. There really isn't. The difference is only a thought. The difference between you and Bob is your belief that there is a difference. Because Bob is purely and acutely aware that as much as he exists and there is awareness of existence, there is no less of awareness of existence in you. But you think that on top of it, something has to go, something has to shift, something has to change, something has to stop, something has to happen. But really what has to happen is the thought, the belief in that has to just relax. Because when you are not thinking, what stands in the way to full awareness of your presence? Bob asked you, are you unaware? You said, no, you are aware. But now, this is not enough, right? Because the mind comes and says, oh yeah, that's not good enough. I'm aware, but so what? Where is the enlightenment? Where is the bliss? Where is the concepts, the ideas that mind comes up, that something has to change. Bob says, you are already that. And the mind says, no, I'm not. I need to have a fireworks or sun or thunderbolt, something. But the truth is, you really are already that. It's only the chatting mind that tells you that you are not. When that mind eases off and relaxes, you know, when you look at the beautiful sunset, or you eat the delicious chocolate cake or something, or you pat your cat, or you do something that is completely taking away the narrative, this is the moment where nothing is wrong. Nothing wrong. Life as it is lovely, it's just easy. That is what we call natural state. Now people come and say, oh no, this should be something different. Enlightenment, this is something big, this is the word that is heavy. But the natural state is the state in which we are as in nature. Just relaxed natural being, at ease with everything. The body is hungry, the body eats. The body wants to empty the bladder, the body goes. The mind needs to get entertained, plays the music. And there is no one who has any problem with that. But usually there is this conceptual self, me, Katarina or Saroja, who says, that's not good enough. I want more pleasure. I want more bliss. I want more love. I want more, something else. Not this. This moment is no good. This is wrong. Has to be different. And that very construct, which says that God is idiot, he did it all wrong. I know better that this moment should be different. God is stupid. The reality, the totality that created this moment this way is wrong. I, the constructed self, I would do it better. More pleasure, more bliss, more love, more... That voice, that self, that constructed self, which is just a habitual following of that little, you know, when we were learning how to speak, when Bob was saying, you 2-3-year-old collecting words, you know, learning, rehearsing in the head, okay, what I'm gonna say, okay, baby is thirsty, or baby wants this, or that voice, we became so accustomed to it, that at some point, when the transition came from the description to the relating, this is I now, I am hungry, I want the lolly, I want the ice cream, this voice become internalized as well. Now this voice is me, and now this voice says that this is no good, this is wrong. So now I believe that this is me, I say it. How am I going to disbelieve? How am I going to get rid of the I? That is impossible, that can't happen. The imagined self cannot imagine itself to not exist. The recognition comes from beyond that imagined self. When you see that, you see how the whole machinery came into the spiral, into that intricate game of illusion, that smoke and mirrors. You just see, with no thought, no problem. Natural state, ease, nothing wrong. The thought, and the thought saying, no, I'm not enlightened, I'm not that, I'm not clear, I'm not... Then the drama comes. So you see, there is really the thought that has to be disbelieved, distrusted, recognized from that relaxed space of open consciousness. in that open consciousness, sometimes there is a thought I, sometimes there is no thought I, but the being is always there. So when there is a thought I, and you see that this is just what comes up on that field of consciousness, you don't believe that this thought I is who I am. It is just something that sometimes is there, sometimes not there. When you go to sleep, there is nothing wrong. When you exposed to something really high vibrationally, you know, like love or beauty or bliss, nothing wrong also. But then, you know, the longing gets, oh, but I know there is more. Deeply in my heart, I know there is more. And I don't get it, I want it, I desire it, I crave it. My heart wants that sense of fulfillment. And now it becomes a story of life. I have to seek for it. I have to devote everything to find it. But it's never hidden.
Can I say something?
Please.
I think the question you said was why. What was the question again? You said why can't?
Why? I mean,
what's stopping me? What is stopping me?
Final step.
What is stopping me?
Final step.
But what you said is what is stopping me? That was your question. What is stopping me? That there's the split. You see, there's a split there. So you are the awareness. That's a fact. Bob asked you, are you existing right now? You said yes. That's the awareness. Right? And then you said, but what is stopping me? So that's the me, which can only live in your memory. The memory of you is stopping you from just being. So the me cannot live right here, right now. The me is a memory of you. So there's a split between you and the awareness, allegedly, in your mind. Mm. But you're never not the awareness. You are always the awareness. It's just the mind appears upon it. The mind appears upon it.
It's
and
beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. As you're speaking, like it was really clear. I think, yeah, exactly what everyone else is saying. I got nothing really of any use to say, but it was like, I'm ready. What's stopping me from taking this? There is no leap. The leap is an idea. What's stopping me is another idea, and the me that's ready is another idea as well. And they're all, it's all just these little words of energy, little packets that are just believed in. And if they're not, and there's nothing to be done, and everything resolved right there. That's all.
And everything's perfectly resolved right here, right now, as Bob says, in the unborn Buddha mind. The unborn Buddha mind before the word. And the word me is a word. Are you a word? No, you're so much more than that. You're the awareness. Right here, right now. Pure love itself. Sat Chitananda, being, knowing, loving to be. That's what you are. And the word appears upon it. You're not the word.
Cliff?
Sorry, Cliff.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah, I liked what you said, Kat. The false self can't get rid of the false self. But the false self is false, so there's no use operating from that point of view anymore because it is false. You are the awareness. Just be from there. Forget the false self.
Michael? Here. Did you want to say something?
I will now.
Better be good.
Better be good now, eh? Yeah, I was just thinking, like, that's it as well. Like, that question coming up is also it. That's it.
Of course.
And if you can kind of just say, well, right now, this is it, and not want it to be different. Let go of wanting it to be different. because this is it. Even with all the questioning and the thinking you're not getting it and the chasing of it. Yeah, if you can just stop and say, what if I let go of wanting that to be different, and this is it, with the noise.
Yeah. What's that? Nothing else. And I would like also add that, see, your heart is so awake, because I heard that question from you before, and I totally resonate with myself having the same questions. True devotion towards the truth, true love towards the truth, and wanting to do everything, anything, everything, whatever it takes, to reunite with that longing of the heart, with that absolute or that totality that I knew deep down that I am. And staying in that love, in that devotion, in that longing is in itself fulfilling. But it becomes suffering when it gets translated to the thinking, because the translation to the thinking is the translation to lack. See, the love itself, the longing itself, oh, I know for a fact there is a greater, more fulfilling and more beautiful reality. My heart knows this. And it is right, it is. Stay in that heart knowing. The moment you go to the head and say, oh, but I'm not in it, this is something else, this is not it, this is no, I'm lacking, I'm deficient, I'm incomplete, I'm limited, I'm poor me, I'm unworthy, I'm unlovable. This is the I in the head. Like Jane beautifully said, this I is made of memory. This I, it says, oh, I'm Katarina, I'm Saroja, I'm this, I'm that, I'm the other. Everything that you ever learned. Heart doesn't have that. In the heart there is just pure knowing of that infinite, boundless freedom of existence. Heart doesn't have concept that I am in the body, I am the body, I've been wounded, traumatized, abused. Heart doesn't have that sort of a language. It all comes from here. So when that longing strikes, see if you could just stay with that and just stay there. It feels, the mind will be really perplexed, like, oh, there's nothing happening. It's threatening, because the conceptual mind does not exist in the absence of concepts. So you stay in that nothing, and there's just restlessness, explosiveness. It doesn't want to be there. But stay longer than you can, and the tears of devotion will naturally dissolve any resistance. And that is the sample of no mind. Because it really is the only mind that stands in the way. And the more moments you have of knowing on the level of your being, on the core of your being, like Bob says, heart is not a physical instrument. It's the core, it's the source. It's that energy, the pure consciousness that you are. That knowing is there. It's only the mind that translated to, oh no, that's not it, that's no. If you could stay in the non-conceptual as much as you can, it may even be enough. Like Bob says, his most famous quote, what's wrong with right now if you don't think about it? Oh yeah, but how often do I have to ask that? Do I have to do it all the time? What's wrong? Oh, nothing. What's wrong? Oh, nothing. Oh my God, what a practice, 12 hours a day, I'll have to just keep looking what's wrong with right now if I don't think. No, once is enough. But if you really see, you ask that question once, you really see that without the thinking, if I'm not thinking, there is nothing wrong. That is the natural state, nothing wrong. With the thinking now, that natural state doesn't disappear. So the thinking, it comes and goes on it. It can be believed and it causes suffering, or it can be used as an instrument and it becomes just a tool for functionality. So you are really, and in your heart you know it, because you can feel with your whole being, otherwise this question wouldn't come up. This longing for the freedom, for the truth, for the union with the source. in your heart you are in that state. Only the translation by the head. No. Head will always say no, because mind lives in memory, like also Jane points out quite often, beautifully and simply, because Bob says it too, but she just nails it, you know. It can't live in the present. It can't. It doesn't have any concepts. It can only live in, you know, projecting the past into the future. It needs the story. It needs the context. What is the I? If I don't know that I was born, if I don't know that I'm male or female, if I don't know that, you know, all those things that I learned in the past, it's nothing. It has no boundary. I can't even say I have the face or the body. I can't even, nothing. In the present, the separation cannot really be conceptualized. It relays on the past. So without that concept, you stay in the nothing. And that's natural. Like all the, you know, the cats, there is a little boy with us. They live in, or he's probably in and out of it. He's, how old is Siegfried? 5, yeah. Still very close to it. And I'm sure you there many times a day when you're just with your heart, without the translation. And the translation, it is a function. It has its uses. You know, conceptualizing self for the sake of communication, of connection, of bonding in a big groups, finding peers. This is all beautiful. But it can be freeing and it can be used rather than the life being completely hijacked by this imposter believed to be real. It is not, like Cliff was saying. It is false. It always will. But when you believe it, you know, when you believe Santa Claus, it can be scary for a little child inside. Yeah.
And what Bob says, all we can do is point. All we can do is point. So we can only know what we're not, because what we are is awareness. So all we can do is point to the truth of our own being. Everything else is a story about people, places or things, you know, including the story about me, which all appears on awareness. So it's that. I am that, you know. So, yeah. So it's all good, you know, it's all good, but we really can only know what we're not, because the narration is just a narration, as Bob said. Does the word fire burn your mouth? Does the word water quench your thirst? Is the word me actually real? Is it actually who you are? No, you're the awareness. And the rest is just a story. So you can only know what you're not, because in reality you're just awareness, one with all of us.
That is such a beautiful point. Saroja, when you ask, what can I do? What is the I that is ready to do anything? What is the I? What do you think is that I that wants to do anything? Who is that I? When you say, what can I do? What do you mean I? Do you feel that you are the feeling, or you are the body-mind, or?
I'm the Maya.
You the Maya.
Yeah.
Yes, so can Maya do anything?
No.
No. Beautiful. Yes, she can't. Maya can't do anything.
Maya can't do anything.
No. Rainbow or reflection in the mirror can't do anything.
I can feel I'm not the body. I
Yes.
can feel I'm not the body.
Mm.
I can feel I'm nothing. I can feel the darkness. I can feel the emptiness.
Yeah.
I can feel the nothingness. Sometimes I don't
Yeah.
feel my body.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just feel I'm not there, but
So there is just a feeling or knowing, a general knowing of everything, right? Emptiness, body, everything. So you can't say what that knowing is, can you?
No,
But you can't deny it. There is a knowing.
of course there is. Because with the knowingness, I'm seeing all my senses are
Yeah.
functioning.
Mm.
With the knowingness, I'm talking, I'm
Yeah.
doing everything. The knowingness is there, the life energy is there.
Yes.
What Bob said, the life energy is there.
So you are being.
I am being.
They call it ease of being. Being at ease. Just rest in that ease.
Rest in that ease
Rest in that, yeah.
of being. Peter, did you want to say something?
Yeah, everybody said so eloquently that just do the work of looking and seeing whether or not the self that I've made in association with these thoughts is real. That's all you need to do. Yeah. And everything else will be added unto you. It's like all we can do with the mind is to negate, to find what we are not, and then everything is added unto you. So just, as Kat has so rightly pointed out, you're beautiful, you have it all already. There it is. Whoosh, bang, done. Won't worry about anything at all. Particularly these thoughts which could, the voice which says, I don't have this, I don't have this. That's merely a momentary construction of nothingness, isn't it? When we really look at it,
Yeah.
that in itself has nothing in it. Do you see that?
We called it Maya.
Mm.
So that's what Peter says. You say that's Maya.
Yeah.
See that construct that tells you that there is something you haven't got. There is a knowing, that wide field of knowing the emptiness, knowing the body, knowing the nothingness, the darkness, all of it. That is being known. There is a knowing to all of it. And the stuff that constructs and says that, something missing, is something lacking, is also known. This is Maya. You said it, Maya. Can Maya do anything? That's keep recognizing Maya and see that the recognizing, perhaps that recognizing capacity to know, is more of what you are than the Maya. Because capacity to know is always there, and Maya comes and goes. The concepts, the ideas, the constructs, they come and go. And I think we have a couple of comments from people. Maybe they will have something that strikes you who are online with us. There is Yelena says, it's always the imagining that it can be better that causes the split. Everything is always perfect, but the me won't let you be in that. It's habitual. Break the habit, and there it is. That is a brilliant point. Brilliant point, Yelena. Yes, the me is a program which is designed to always find something better than that. And that's a wonderful program. Brilliant. But you are not the program. The me, the idea that, oh yeah, I can get better money, I can get better partner, I can get better house, I can get better food. Wonderful. That is progress, so-called. That is how the whole growth, the creativity comes from that. But you are not. When you believe that this is me, that's when the suffering starts. There is a perfection, and that perfection can be recognized. And the program for improvement, lovely, let it run. But don't be fooled that this is the identity. And now John says, there is no I to have habits, so there are no habits to break. If you think there is a habit to break, you are back into the me game, laughing out loud. When the idea of better comes up, it comes up. It will go away unless the I grabs onto it, and if it does, then it comes up. This, then this, laughing out loud. That's another way to say the same thing.
That's right. Well
Yes.
said, John.
Yes, you can say the same thing in many ways, and it's no wrong. It's no wrong to say that there are habits. because in the direct experience, if you translate it into words, you can actually see that there are habits that are not present, and they drop away by themselves. And even though there is no I mean, I have a couple of cats, they have completely different habits, and they don't conceptualize any I's. And some of those habits are broken when I change where the food is served. So it is no wrong what Yelena said, and of course it's brilliant what John says as well. It's the same way of saying it. It's just, we actually recognize, because we already are all being lived, we are already a cognizing capacity. Everybody has that wisdom. It's just to uncover it. Nobody is wrong. Everybody knows that they are. How it is expressed, it is how it comes out. That's uniquely beautiful and different. Now Adrian says, sometimes the final step idea is the one that can be seen like, what really is that idea that is trying to get the final step. The issue is we are taking that idea to be my idea. That's right. Can you see that? How that idea that, you see, I understand absolutely everything. It's all clear. It's all obvious. I've seen it. I've felt it. It's all good. It's just that one final step that I have to take is this idea is so charged, is so emotionally charged, that it feels like the ultimate truth. It feels like this is true. Like, this idea is not the same idea as the sky is blue, or I'm hungry, but it is. All ideas are just ideas. That's a good point, Adrian. Thank you. Yeah, he says, seeing that idea, trying to get the final state, is just another idea and not my.
Yeah.
You know, Tristan.
Yep, just waiting patiently. I've had too long to think now. Just listening to everyone's sharing and relating that to surrendering to what is, and recognizing there's, reflecting on there's nowhere else really to go. And when you try and go off the path or move out of this what is, then that separation's there, and it's painful. So stop doing it. Telling myself to stop doing it, I guess, is a reminder. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Beautiful. And still, we can do the reminder, but nobody can start or stop anything because there is no self. And reminder may still somehow resonate with the heart and incur the action, invoke the action. Yes, Peter?
No.
Oh, Zoran.
I just wanted to say, through my experiences, just to remember to be gentle with yourself as well, because it can seem like a big transition, not just a firmware upgrade, but a changing of the operating system completely. Like it's and having those glimpses is a good part of it. Just acclimatizing you to apparent changes, you know. So everything. Just be gentle and loving and let it happen. And the more we try and force this and anything, the further away we are from it. So so just allowing, I think.
I just
beautiful. Yes, go on. Yes.
It keeps coming up, so I think I better say it. I think the important thing is to also see the nature of the story. The story can only work in the pairs of opposites. So there's me, you, pleasure, pain, desire, fear, yesterday, tomorrow, and to see that little narration going in that order, it is like an operating system. It's appearing on that presence that you are. But that's the nature of the mind. It cannot see outside those pairs of opposites, right? And so give it something that it can't figure out, and it's like going 10 times more full on, and and there is no answers in the mind. There's no answers there. So if someone says, now you can't get milk at a butcher shop, will you go to the butcher shop and ask for milk? No. Okay, so there's no answers in the mind about that presence, because that's prior to the mind. You know, so there's no milk at the butcher shop. Have a little giggle about that when you get caught in the mind again, thinking that you are that. You know, the mind appears upon that presence that you are, can only work in the pairs of opposites, and you're never going to find an answer to knowing that awareness there. You can't find it there. You know, it's prior to that. It appears upon it. It's like when the cord is pulled out of the computer, what is there?
Yeah, the light is going.
Yeah, that's right. And so, or when the operating system's not working, but the power's still on in the computer, the computer's still working, but the operating system's all stuffed up. Well, the power's still there, but the operating system's a bit raggedy-jaggedy, you know. So give it a question it can't figure out. It's like having a nervous breakdown kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it cannot find the answer there, because it's prior to it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And I love what Zoran was saying about the gentleness.
Yeah.
You see, this is again the problem which many seekers struggles with, and that was my story too. Having that level of devotion and that level of desire, the final desire to find the union and the oneness and end that suffering and that separation, and being so invested in it, the heart was awakened, but the mind was still in charge. That was often, instead of that gentle loving hug and a gentle level, if there is an imagined self there still, instead of giving it, blowing it a wink and a kiss, I would punish it severely. That would be the self-punishment. Yeah, you weren't clear enough, or you weren't awake, you didn't go on the razor's edge, or you should be awake all the time, or you should be mindful all the time, should be in the meditation all the time. If not, oh, you are a bastard, you are wrong, you are a bitch, you deserve punishment, you should never deserve anything good. That is the opposite. That is reinforcing that separation, that separate self. You know, like if you could talk about so-called subconscious mind as a set of software, just the same way as you have the dog, which also operates on that basic sort of instinctive learning. You know, the dog runs away and you call it back and then you give him a treat and then he will come back again. But if the dog runs away and it comes back and you beat him, it won't. It won't. So that same sort of a basic structure of our programming is there. If there is a moment of glimpse, a moment of respite, and you give it a treat, a little bit of love, oh yes, thank you, rather than beat up, oh you see, you've been gone for 20 minutes, you've been fantasizing, imagining, you've been in your head for the last 2 hours, you stupid, you idiot, you'll never get it, you're wrong. You're training the dog to never come, to never have that glimpse ever again. So the really kind, loving, like Tristan was saying, a surrendered approach, you know, approach of surrendering to being, where instead of being harsh and instead of what might work in another areas of life, nothing is wrong. That approach is not wrong, you know, like if you cook and you touch the stove, you burn. You do it again, you burn again. Well, that is effective learning. People can tell you about it 10 years and you won't learn until you get burned. This approach doesn't really apply in this one. Here we reward that little doggy so it keeps coming back. So every moment of natural state, nothing wrong. Oh, right now, is there anything right now? No, it's wrong? No, it's okay. That moment's okay. Yeah, this is okay, I'm awake. This moment of okayness where there is nothing wrong. Yeah, that's it. I can't even say I am awake because there's no I really, it's just a wakefulness.
It's loving to be.
It's loving to be, yes.
And
you see the loving to be, you want to be there, you don't want to be in the conflict of the thinking and the mind and the past and all that stuff. It has its own reward, and all it needs is a bit of earnestness to keep your eyes open in a way, and the loving to be shines through.
And as Tristan said, watch the resistance. Watch the resistance to what is.
Yes.
You know, just watching. And if you're watching that resistance, it's an opportunity.
I am.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to rest in that beingness that you are, you know, and it's great because everything's an opportunity to watch then.
Bob wants to add something.
Yeah.
I just say the same thing. Gently, as what did I say? Being at ease.
Mm.
Being easy. Ease of being at ease. Your being. Just rest easy.
Rest easy in that beingness.
Bob, I love what you said. I could almost have kind of fallen by the side. Is that awareness is the life. Awareness is the life we live. Awareness is the life force. Awareness is life. And if we allow that life to live us every moment, without questioning, without comments, without interference, then we have actually surrendered to that awareness. We are that awareness living itself. It's so much simpler than all this dialogue and diatribe around it. It's actually unbelievably simple. And that is why Nisargadatta keeps coming back to it over and over again. Life lives us. Yes. It is only the one life living us. And if we can recognize that at every moment, every second, and really be it without comment, with total surrender and acceptance, there's nothing more to seek. Everything will be revealed in that. It is being revealed in that every second. It's really much, much simpler, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Beautifully said. A brilliant reminder. I'll give it.
That's simple that we miss it.
That's simple that we miss it. Yeah. And really, this could be a nice sort of insightful, even a way of centering that love. You know, that love that is already there for the truth. Give it a little bit of a task, employing the mind in a little bit of a sadhana. Recognize, like in every single moment, you are being lived. Everything is happening and unfolding from infinite amount of factors contributing. Like this whole program is so infinitely complex, starting from the body, the nervous system, all of it, the processing. See how you're not the doer. See how there is no I, there is no self in this. And then you look out and you see the same applies to the trees, the plants, the skies, the animals, the interaction between people. The whole universe, moment to moment, is playing out. Every single player, it seems like there is a multitude of players, but they all interconnected. And just really moment to moment realizing how there is no doer in any of it blows your mind, and it keeps you in the state of like fascination. And that's pleasant, and that's revealing, because it's undeniable. I mean, when you really set your heart to translate and use the mind into translating it in this way, you see the mystery, you see the miracle, you look with that sense of awe. There is no personal story saying, oh, that's shallow, oh, that's ugly, oh, that's stupid. There is nothing shallow, ugly, stupid. There is nothing wrong. If you see constantly what Marika was saying, life is living everything. That is such a brilliant way to channel that devotion.
And as Marika was saying, if there's no awareness, what can anyone do if it's not aware?
Yes, yes.
Just a little quick story. Yesterday I was having this meeting with a woman about, it's like an executive group that's come together to basically map out the life of a girl with disabilities. So everything's mapped out. what she likes, what she dislikes, preferences, how she regulates, how she what triggers her, and it's big lists of and behaviours, patterns, things to do, things not to do, and from time frames to the whole life was mapped out by this. And I was in this meeting; it was amazing. And I was just watching this whole show. So, and it was like the narrative. It was like it was just an example of the narrative that goes on. And actually, there's a spontaneous life that's actually happening. No one can see it. It's obscured by this map of this person's life and how we can make it better and worse and fix it, change it, and improve it. But it's that even that's part of the whole script, part of the whole show.
Yeah.
But it sort of had like a little impact on me at the time. I was like, wow, I was just blown away by it, and it's like I walked away, and even now that like there's this show going on, and there's like these little names like above your head that says Kat, Bob, Marika, good comments, just all sorts of little commentaries, like little imaginary words, saying stuff that actually means nothing at all, because there's this spontaneous show that just going on, and there's no one controlling it, no one doing it, no one who's anything like that, and it just goes on, and it's pretty funny. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely incredible.
Makes the divine love, doesn't it?
To think like, I've got some sort of control and free will, and I'm going to fix things but that's part of the dream. Is I think that's part of the whole expression is to appear that way.
And it is.
Yeah, but when you know it's not actually real, the appearance is so much more fun and easy and light. And
exactly, that's the thing. If you know it's not real, there is place for everything. There is place for mapping a character. I mean, when you adopt the dog from the shelter, you get the same, and there is no self in the dog, and there is conditioning, likes, dislikes, preferences, all of it. And there is a place for everything. There is place for training. There is place for, as you say, the regulation, self-regulation, learning skills, all of it. There is even a place for self-help. Anything is part of the play, but it can be light. It can be joyous. Like I read in one of the books when I was still a seeker, actually it was an audiobook, I listened to it a couple of times because it was so entertaining. The guy who wrote the book, he says, so okay, you are the enlightened guy, so what are you doing with your time? And he says, well, I kill time before the time kills me. For instance, I like to jump off the airplanes. What's the problem with that? Whatever you do. It's just that it can be done with beautiful lightness, curiosity and amazement, rather than, look at this boy.
That's it.
And we have 5 minutes to go, so we have no comments from online community.
But we talked about, I was talking before about the false self, but we step in and out of the false self all the time. It's part of the life to recognise that false self, but the thing is to see past it and to not be caught in the dream and have it turn into some sort of nightmare and you think you can't get out of it.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to say something that you said that I think ties in about all we can do is really do the looking and the seeing in terms of what we can do. I think that really makes a lot of sense, because when you really look, there's nothing there.
That's sure, yeah.
So in terms of what we can do, I think that was a really great bit of advice. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and in regards to the doing, I think there is a point where the doing exhausts itself. The doing energy will come to a sort of end, the realizing that nothing can be done. And I think it's just a natural process where you have to keep butting your head against the wall for a while until you realize this isn't doing it, and another something presents itself, which you're not in control of, which, yeah, and it's all pretty organic and natural. I think after a certain point, I think Ramana said, once your love of being is greater than your love for doing, you're pretty much home, or something along the lines of that. So yeah, when you start to love just being, and you realize that the doing is no longer doing it for you, then there's not too much more to sort of worry about. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
That's a beautiful summary.
Yeah, that is exactly what's happening. When I'm letting go, like one by one, and I know that I'm in a very relaxed state, but then I know I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the breath, I'm not the form, I'm just the presence, the life energy. And, you know, like what you said, it's just...
Yeah, it's just the more you see that, and the more you stay with that, then it's just a natural sort of progression.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, eventually it'll just work itself out. Like everything's just perfect the way it is. I think even like compared to what I see outside of this room, even to be at the point where we're at, where we have that longing to see something like this, and that inner urge for what, you know, that the path that we're on, it's very rare, and it's it's perfect, it's beautiful. Yeah.
It is. Yes.
So well done.
I just thought that the use of the phrase that this too does not prove that I'm not that is quite useful. It was for me anyway. Because if you take an idea, for example, you know, I'm not letting go into this thing. It's too hard for me to let go into this in some way, or whatever the idea is. And I say, this too does not prove that I'm not that. I can say, well, that's a true statement, isn't it? And I can say, well, does this idea that I've got in my mind prove that I'm not being? Prove that I'm not alive? Does it kill me in this instant? You know, and of course it does not. Yeah. This is the way through. You can apply that phrase to everything that occurs here, and get good results from it, I believe.
Just a quick reminder, little plug for tomorrow. If you're in the U.S. or available on Monday mornings at 9:30, you can go to Bob's website, the meeting page, and you'll see the Monday morning, what's our Monday, Zoom meeting for Yanks and people available in the morning.
Sunday afternoon in America.
Yeah, it's Sunday afternoon in the States.
Here.
Just click on Bob's
Thanks.
website, is that it?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the one.
I just want to actually acknowledge what you said, Kat, about devotion. I think that is an element that is somewhat underestimated, and I think it's an extremely important element, because it is devotion to your love for truth, which is that life living us. That devotion is an expression of that life. And when that is listened to and acknowledged and allowed to be, it will it dissolves almost every obstacle.
That's right.
And that is ultimately, I think, the most beautiful response to life living us. It is a surrender, and it is total devotion to the truth that we know is that life.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And as Bob used to say, the truth eats away the lie. And that's sort of validating exactly what you said. The truth eats away the lie. And this alleged you actually doesn't have to do anything. You know, even though apparently it thinks it does, the truth just eats away the lie or the story, or the story of me. It just.
The great poet Ray Keats. Keats said that very beautifully, actually, except he added one other item, and he said, "Truth is beauty, and beauty truth, and that is all you ever need to know."
That's it. Was that Keats?
That's Keats.
Oh, I love Keats.
And I have just one final comment from Tanya. She says resonating, and we had love sent from Tony and Mary to everyone and to us.
Oh, hi Tony and Mary, love you.
And we have, Tanya says, resonating so much with what Kat and Jane have said today, and many thanks to Bob. Realize there is more looking without the thoughts, the non-conceptual awareness. There is much more peace and ease. Thank you so much. And Jonathan says also, they are just thank you messages now. And John says, Krishnamurti said, truth is a pathless land. And I wanted also to acknowledge what Marika was saying, because that's just so crucial. When Nisargadatta says love and wisdom are two sides of the same one stick. I remember Adrian was here once on the meeting when he had a beautiful insight. He says, well, there is so-called realization or awakening on the level of the mind when everything gets clear. But until the heart awakens, it's not really complete. And I say, it's not only not complete, it's worth nothing. It's rubbish. It's imagined. Whatever you imagine that you know, or whatever you imagine that you understand intellectually, it's bullshit. You get Alzheimer's and it is gone. Or you get drunk and it is gone. Or you go to sleep and it is gone. The awakening is only on the level of total integration of the heart and love. This is where the separation disappears. Intellectual, we had people here who were saying that, oh, I understand that me and that glass are one. Oh, really? Is that your experiential knowing? Well, I'm sorry for you. That's not it. The intellectual understanding is rubbish. It's just the blah blah. Everybody can recite the blah blah. The true awakening is when you actually stop thinking, and it is the experiencing of that natural state of nothing is wrong, nothing needs to change. Life is a mystery, it's a miracle. You don't even have to translate it to those words. And this is available moment to moment. And as Miriam was saying, yes, that is the only thing that one seemingly can do, and there is no one doing it, is the recognition, realization, the seeing. This is the project that I'm working on. Hopefully I'll figure out the way to deliver it and send it, sell it in America. The deck of cards with 4 colors: realize, recognize, reflect, and relax. Not that there is any self that can do any of it, and there are pointers to every one of it from Bob. Not that anyone can do it, but this is to invoke the natural recognition, the natural relaxation, something that is available all of the time. It is the resonation with the frequency that kind of, like you punch the string of a guitar and it creates the response. So this is what the natural state is all about. Just tune in to that innate knowing. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Bob.